Hello everyone, this is Jerry, or BladeEdge86 as I'm known on YouTube, and this recent news report aired on EBC News called Bay Area Researcher Integrates Autistic Children with Other Kids, where this one San Francisco State University researcher did this experiment where she took these autistic children and put them into this playgroup with non-autistic children and noticed significant improvements in their behavioral and social skills. Has come to my attention recently, and she's come to a conclusion which is very obvious to individuals with autism such as myself and parents of autistic children, that full inclusion is the only way individuals with autism can reach their full potential. Now, because this is so obvious to you and I, many of us who hear stories like this, we react something to the effect of, well, duh, and thanks to the greater awareness of autism, that is also the reaction of more and more members of the general public. But there exists and still persists to this day a great deal of myths, misinformation, confusion, and outright lies regarding autism, and I have made videos in the past regarding some of these, and I have the links to these videos in the description of this video if you want to see them. Radio talk show host Michael Savage iterated a warped version of the old classic refrigerator mother syndrome last year, which I've decided to dub the absent father syndrome, where he said that the majority of cases where children had autism were a bunch of whiny brats who, quote, don't have fathers to tell them to stop acting like a moron. Now then there's Autism Speaks fear-mongering public service ad called I Am Autism, which painted autism as some horrible fate worse than death that is stealing children away from their parents and sending them to the poorhouse, while conveniently ignoring the fact that autism is a spectrum disorder with cases ranging from mild to severe, with most falling somewhere in the middle, and more reaching the higher end of the spectrum thanks to advances in understanding and treatment. There are alternative treatments which have been advanced by con artists and the phony baloney celebrities and media whores like Jenny McCarthy, like chelation therapy, gluten-free diets, hyperbaric chambers, and God knows what other kind of quackery they can come up with, that are supposedly able to wave some magic wand to completely cure autism in one fell swoop. Now, since many individuals with autism do have gastrointestinal disorders, I can see how special diets can help, because what affects the body can also affect the mind. But come on, folks, saying that gluten-free diets magically cure people of autism forever is like saying that pulling a thorn out of a lion's paw will magically make the lion impervious to pain for the rest of its life. It is completely and totally ridiculous. It just does not pan out with the facts. Big government and big business have been trying to cover up the connection between autism and other neurological disorders and health issues, and the increasing amount of poison we are exposed to on a daily basis in our food, in our water, in our air, and in our vaccines. The same way the tobacco industry and politicians in their pockets tried to cover up the connections between smoking and lung cancer. They've even gone so far as to openly lie that the swine flu vaccine that we all told we must take or we're all going to die didn't have toxic metals like mercury, squalene, and formaldehyde, when the official FDA insert, and I've read it myself, says that it does. I even saw a news report saying that mercury, which is so deadly that it literally punches holes in people's brains, is actually good for you. I'm going to play it for you right now.
Mercury-containing vaccines may have on kids.
A life-saving device wins over-the-counter approval by the FDA.
And sick of your glasses and contact lenses? A new corrective eye surgery is approved today. Here's tonight's medical headlines with Medical Watch reporter Seema Mather.
Mercury-containing vaccines may help, not harm kids, according to 2 new studies in the journal Pediatrics. There have been widespread concerns that mercury-based preservatives in vaccines might impair the neurological development of children. These new studies suggest that the opposite, that the preservatives may actually be associated with improved behavior and mental performance.
And some people, even still to this day, have the misconception that if their child has autism, that the proper thing to do is to segregate them from society and protect and insulate them from the public eye. This misconception is particularly damaging because it is based on a combination of many different misconceptions, some of the most common being that people with autism are incapable or unwilling to engage in social interaction, that it's a waste of time because they'll never be able to function in society, that they don't have empathy toward others. Now, we know all this is false. I mean, we've come a long way, but there are still people out there that need to be educated. Now, when I was first diagnosed with autism at age 2, the doctor said I wouldn't get an IQ past 50, could turn into a vegetable at any time, and recommended that I be institutionalized. My mom got a second opinion on this, and perhaps maybe even a third or a fourth opinion. And I was enrolled in auditory integration training and speech and behavioral therapy intervention program at UCSD. I was one of the first people in that particular program. My behavior slowly started to improve, and my sensitivities to certain sounds which was so great that even the sound of a toilet flushing would hurt my ears, was starting to get under control. And by age 5, I finally learned how to talk. Now, when I was first enrolled in kindergarten, the school recommended I be placed in an emotionally disturbed class. Instead, I was placed in the special ed classroom by a real great lady named Dixie Smith. It was gradually mainstreamed from that point on until by the 4th grade I was in regular ed full-time with some supports, and by middle school I had made honor roll multiple times and was in the school band, and was in the school band again in high school. I graduated high school 2004 with a 3.8 GPA. I now work on the stock crew at a grocery store called Stater Brothers. I've been taking classes at Palomar College. I make videos on YouTube, most of them political, though some of them, like this one, are on autism. And I have my own internet radio show that airs every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on www.blogtalkradio.com/BladeEdge86. It's a political talk show with civil liberties issues being the main focus, though I am considering having a separate show dealing with autism and just autism. At first, I need to find a good name for it. I can't use my name because then people would confuse it with my political talk show, The Jerry Ciolino Show, so any suggestions would be appreciated. Now, none of this would have been possible for me without gradual mainstreaming and full inclusion. I must emphasize that again. Now, even if everything else were done right, now things have gotten better once again. There are plenty of good supports out there for children and teenagers. You just need to know where to look. But once the child becomes 18, some cases 21, they're in many cases no longer eligible to receive many of the same supports that they once received. Because of this and the undeniable fact that many individuals with autism still need help in certain areas, many adults with autism who thrived in their child and teen years are falling through the cracks. Even I still need help on a couple of things. Now, I want to complete my general ed credits at Palomar College so I can transfer into my 4-year university, but in large part because of the math requirements and my difficulties with math, and those difficulties adversely affecting my other classes, and the fact that many classes I have taken ended up being far more difficult than I'd originally anticipated, it's taking a lot longer than I expected. Now, in order to transfer, I need to get a C or better in college-level basic algebra, when I can barely even do pre-algebra, without my head feeling like it's going to explode. Now, I've never so thoroughly and completely hated school so much in my entire life. When I go there now, I feel like I'm going to some kind of a prison. And I still have some troubles in social interactions. I'm 24, and I've never had a girlfriend. I have virtually zero experience with women. I really want one, but I honestly don't even know where to begin. I'm always afraid I'll screw up and say the wrong thing or get rejected or whatever, and kind of feel like I'm in over my head on this one. I've heard countless stories of adults with autism that are going through the exact same thing, so this is really one of the most common problems adults with autism have. I mean, I'm not asking for Uncle Sam to get more involved because I know he can't deliver, especially in these times, and I've come to the conclusion that government governs best when it's closest to the people. In other words, as a 10th Amendment fiscal conservative, I favor a very limited role for the federal government and a more active role for state and local governments, but the finer details of that discussion are for another video. Now, I'm going to overcome these things somehow. I've already gone too far to give up now. There have been people lower on the spectrum than myself that have overcome these kind of issues, but there are several adults with autism that deal with these and other issues that really could use some help and are not sure where to turn. Now, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. I mean, this is Jerry. I'll see you all later.